Good morning, all. How are we all doing today? Let's finish up the chapter. So, last few things have to do with how you package all this stuff when it comes to DNA. I'll put a short video up of a guy who will show you and go through that whole process. Please watch it and then answer the questions at the end. When it comes down to it, you collect just like you do a lot of the other types of evidence that's out there. First thing you do is you photograph everything, and then you put it on your rough sketch about where it is. Always make sure that you're wearing gloves, just like coronavirus time, and you must collect all the clothing. You must collect everything. Each thing must be separate and folded in laid in the packaging a certain way. So please look at this video when you get done so you look at that. Evidence is generally put into a plastic or airtight container unless it's got moisture. If it has moisture, then they'll put it in paper rather than a plastic airtight container. Each piece must be packaged separately, and whatever bag it is or box it is or whatever it is, it must be totally separate. You cannot, like, let's say you collect a pair of socks. Each sock has to be separate. Okay, so that's basically have to do that. What about dried blood? Well, dried blood is usually removed, okay, using a sterile swab. Usually it's lightly moisture. There's only moisture that you can involve, and it must be distilled water. If it's a hemastick, it already comes with that already, and that's what they usually use, is just a hemastick. If you bring anything that is distilled water into a crime scene, you have to make sure that when you're doing this, that you write that onto your notes, that this was distilled water that you brought in, and then you must also take a sample of that water at the time that you're taking your samples to keep with your samples. That way, if someone ever questions whether or not you planted DNA using that sample or using that water, then it basically, you have a copy of that. So that has to be witnessed, okay? All reference samples then are collected from whoever you want to collect it from. And they usually use that with a buccal swab, which is put on the inside of the cheek, and you see them doing that all the time. And of course, everything must be refrigerated and stored properly when it is being used or analyzed in the lab. Then, of course, they follow the rules, which are basically, they came out of the O.J. Simpson case again. And on top of that, what they'll do is then they have to keep all that evidence, and they must keep it until the case is totally adjudicated, which could take years and years and years and years and years. So everything must be put into a thing. Now, well, you have a wet blood drop. Can it be left to dry out? Yes, it can be. Even if it's left to dry out, they've still taken DNA from dried samples that have been, 40 some years old. So no case is usually going to take at least that long to get up. The other thing is that, let's say it turns into a cold case. Well, then it'll be uploaded. That information will be, any DNA that you collect will be uploaded into a file so that, anybody could go look at it. It may be that they're looking at CODIS. It may be that they're looking at this or looking at that. Okay, whatever it is, all that information will be uploaded and kept on the web forever. And even when your sample is completely adjudicated, more than likely it's still out there, and someone can have access to it if they're granted access to it. Okay, and don't forget to answer the questions. Okay, bye.